Well, hey there, and thank you for joining me for this week's Your Weekly Dose. This week, we are going to be talking about medical test pre-dementia diagnosis. I don't know if you've been following along, but I have been sharing the story of Sarah and her father since right around Thanksgiving time. She originally noticed some changes. She started to bring them up to her mom. She found out with her mother that once she talked to her mother, that these changes had been something that her mom had been compensating for. They went to the doctor, they spoke with the doctor. The doctor said this could be, a number of things. His thyroid could be off, it could be this, it could be that. But Sarah states that her dad has had some problems with his activities of daily living. And now they want to either confirm or deny a diagnosis of dementia. And clearly, there's nobody that I can think of that says, I want a diagnosis of dementia. But it is a thing. And there are people out there who are being diagnosed with dementia. And it's something that if you don't know, you don't know. So you need to treat things appropriately. But I think the first thing that I want to say, like I told Sarah, is you need to consider your person and what your person wants and what they're capable of before putting them through any of the number of tests that we're getting ready to talk about. So I've been helping Sarah. I've been helping her mom. We've been working on a plan of care. We're putting her dad's story together, and we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together so that now they can decide and determine what's the next best step. So they went to their physician in their hometown, and he did something called a mini mental exam. That's something that we here at my practice, we can do that. We can go into the home, into your loved one's home, and we can administer a mini mental exam. It is a series of questions, very few questions, that we give to your loved one, and then it's based on a score. I have to be honest with you, though, if your person is having a good day, just administering one mini mental exam might identify a deficit, but really looking at the whole big picture. What are the other things that they can't do? Some people may have heard of MOCA cognitive testing. There's the VA cognitive testing. There is also a clock test where you ask your person to draw a clock, and then you ask them to put the hands on the clock at a certain time, and they get scored based on how many of the things that they can do right. Again, these are just limited number of tests that we have available that we can do quickly that will identify cognitive deficit or cognitive changes. But you have to put the whole picture together. What's happening at home? What are they forgetting at home? What are they not able to still do? Then, of course, we're going to do some blood tests. We're going to rule out all of the organic causes. We're going to get a urine test. So we're going to maybe look at the thyroid. We're going to look at a CBC. We're going to look at a urine to make sure that they don't have a urinary tract infection. And once we can rule out all of those things, along with our results from our mini mental exam, our clock test, the MOCA, we're going to put that together as the primary care physician, and then we're going to offer some selections or some choices for you. Number one, we could send you to a neurologist who can do a CT or an MRI. A CT or an MRI looks at the structural changes that could be contributing to the symptoms that your person is having. And again, it's just one piece. So if there's shrinkage of the brain, if there's an infarct, meaning that the brain lacked blood supply and so it caused an area to deaden in the brain, we're going to see that on those tests and which lobe of the brain that it affected and how that's affecting your person. Sometimes you can do a CT or an MRI and they show nothing, but that doesn't mean that your person still isn't having those changes, that dementia, because again, dementia is not the disease, it's just the symptom. They can't balance a checkbook. They can't button their pants. They can't shower or groom. So, symptom. We're looking for the cause. You can also go to a neuropsychologist, and they will offer a big day of testing. So it would be like the mini mental exam or MOCA on steroids. Some of the ones that I've seen last 3 hours, and they look at very specific cognitive domains. That's great. You can take your loved one. That can be a recommendation, and you can take or you cannot take your loved one for that kind of further testing. But consider your loved one when you're doing that testing. Are they able to sit there for 3 hours and endure a battery of questions? Some of those questions have to be read by them. Are they capable of doing those things, or is taking them there going to cause them more stress and consternation? So Sarah's mother actually decided to take her dad to a neuropsychologist and put him through the 3 hours of testing. Even though, in my opinion, I didn't think that he would tolerate this, and I was right. He got there, he was there for about an hour and a half, and he just burst. He started to become extremely aggressive. He got aggravated. He became accusatory. He shoved one of the care staff or one of the medical staff, and he was very aggravated because the repeat questions, and he felt like he was failing. He didn't realize that there really wasn't a right or a wrong, technically. They were just trying to see where he was, what was his level of cognition. But he felt like it was a I'm right, you're wrong, or you're wrong and I'm right. And he felt cornered and pinned, and he didn't like that. So he acted out. And Sarah's mom had to put him back in the car and try and drive him home, which was 2 hours from there. And he was aggressive. He was aggressive in the car. He was trying to get out of the car, and he was mad at her for taking him there. So you have a choice to go to these tests. If you want to know what's wrong and you want to go through all of this testing, you have to consider not just that you want the answers, but you have to consider what your loved one is capable. Then there's behavioral and functional testing, which is when we look at the daily behaviors and the functional patterns of your loved one and how they function in home or out of home, and what that might and how that might affect their cognitive decline and their ability to perform activities of daily living. Again, we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we also think that everything that we're prescribed, we have to do. But if your person is having dementia, symptoms of not being able to do their activities of daily living, do you need that? You need to think, do I need that confirmation? Do I need to take them for an MRI? Or am I just going to progressively watch the decline? Can my person even sit in a CT scanner or an MRI without being sedated? Am I able to get them into the car without being sedated? And is that going to affect them taking them in the car? Now, I think if you're looking at somebody who's younger and they're having cognitive changes, and this is new and it's new onset, I think that's a different story. Obviously, the earlier you can diagnose something, the earlier you can start to create a plan of care. It might not be dementia, it might not be Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, it might be something organic that we can take care of. So I'm not saying to be neglectful of these tests. What I am saying, be aware that these tests are out there. Be aware that you have a choice with your loved one, no matter what stage they're in, to do these tests and have these tests completed. But when you're in your early stages, like what we're going through with Sarah and her family, all these weeks we've been talking about little different pieces of the pre-diagnosis journey. These are the tests and these are the things that you can do, and each one builds upon the other one, also taking into account your person's history. These tests are ways that we can look at it objectively, but we have to listen to you as the caregiver or your person subjectively and put that whole piece together, because each person with dementia is unique and we have to take a different approach for each person, and we need to reflect on that uniqueness when we're creating a plan of care for them and for you as the caregiver, because if it doesn't fit for you, the plan isn't going to work. So if you suspect that your loved one or someone that you know is on a similar journey like Sarah's dad, these are the tests that you can think about to discuss with your physician. Is it necessary, and is my person capable of doing these type of tests? What will my person have to endure or be able to get through to complete these tests? And also, if you're not in your pre-diagnosis journey, at what stage of the journey is your person in? And are these tests necessary? And are they doable to get a true diagnosis? Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lewy body, some of those we can't get until a person passes away. So is it more important to know that your person has dementia, or is it more important to know which type of dementia as opposed to treating the symptoms? If you have any questions about this, please put them in the comments below. I will check back with you later. Make sure to like and subscribe to this so that you can follow us throughout our pre-diagnosis journey. Next week, we're going to talk about how to take care of yourself as a caregiver in this pre-diagnosis journey so that you can best support your person and yourself throughout this process. Have a good night, everyone.